everyone. This is Dave Travels Through Time, Channel 2. I'm back. It's been a few days. I Today is Friday. How is everybody? TGIF. So, today I'm going to be talking about how I got into Batman and Star Trek. So, and if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button, click the share button, and click the notification bell so you'll be notified when I go live. So, when I first got into Star Trek was when I was age 8. It was, I believe it was 1998. And it was the repeats of the original and the next generation. And I was very intrigued by it. I believe it was the Menagerie there was an original series rerun on a local station in San Francisco called UPN. And they also had episodes of Deep Space Nine that I watched later as well. And that's how I got into it. I saw the Menagerie, and then I saw they aired a few episodes of Next Generation. Then I got intrigued, and then I watched Next Generation, and then I watched Voyager. So there was a marathon of the original series on it, I think on a Saturday, and I was very intrigued. And it was the Menagerie, which was the episode where Pike was in the wheelchair, and he was, and Spock was in trouble, basically. And then they were shown clips of the Cage, which was the first pilot, the first Star Trek pilot of the original series, which got rejected. And they featured, the footage of Jeffrey Hunter as Captain Christopher Pike. So that was the first time I got into Star Trek after that. And I've been a fan ever since then. And then I watched Deep Space Nine. I think it was Way of the Warrior. I think it was a rerun of that they aired on that channel. And it was syndicated. And then I watched Voyager, which was, I think, the first Voyager episode I saw was Year of Hell, which was about the Krenim. And it guest starred that actor from that 70s show, Kurtwood Smith, I think is his name. And that was an intense two-parter. Yeah, so that's how I first got into Star Trek. And I've been a fan ever since. So, and then of course I watched Enterprise after that, after Voyager had ended. I was still like, I had a year and a half left of elementary school when Enterprise had started. And then, yeah, and I was intrigued by that. Enterprise, of course, was set before the original series, and it's predates all that stuff. It's a prequel, basically. One of the first starships, and it was interesting. Essentially, the first Enterprise now would be the NX-01, and the Klingons looked like the ones from Next Generation and the later movies, which was interesting. They didn't look like the ones that were in the original series, even though this predates that. But they explain that later in the Enterprise episode of how that came to be. And then of course, yep, and then so that, yeah, it's an interesting show, and it was interesting that it had the first, you know, the first Vulcan on a Earth starship, and then T'Pol was her name, and then it was interesting too. The first pet, on well, we saw what another pet. What was it? It was Spot in the Next Generation with Data and Geordi LaForge, but didn't really happen that very often. So with this, it was Porthos the Beagle, which was the captain's doggy. Yeah, it's an interesting show. Interesting prequel. Very interesting prequel. It had its ups and downs. It did get good, and season 3 was a bit of a mixed bag for me. The whole Xindi plot line, it was okay. It was very of the time. It was very of the time, post 9/11. In the Delphic, they were stuck in the Delphic expanse. Yeah. Archer and his crew. Then Daniels, oh my gosh, Daniels, he would be a frequent guest character, wouldn't he? Oh, he was annoying. I could get why Archer he got on his nerves now. Now that I think about it, yeah, those two. It was very similar to the card, and I see where Daniel's Hot Topics was talking about that it's similar to the card and Q dynamic. Now I kind of see it. Although Q's more of a villain than Daniels, obviously. Daniels is just more annoying. And he's from the future, right? You know, the temporal Cold War is a part of that. And then the Enterprise, what? It only lasted 4 seasons, I believe. Yeah, it was on death's door on season 3, I think, but fans protested like the original series, and then they got one more season. I remember. And then they were trying to get a 5th season, but that never happened, or a 4th season, excuse me. Yeah, it was going to be canceled the 2nd season or 3rd season, and then we got one more, which was the 4th. But there was going to be a 5th, but that never happened. Apparently, the Borg Queen was gonna show how she became the Borg Queen. That would have been interesting. And then what else? Then Enterprise ended. But I like the crew. I like the dynamic. Trip was a good engineer. He kind of had a southern accent. And then there was kind of that relationship that was interesting between him and T'Pol. That was interesting. And then Hoshi Sato, she was a interesting character. And then there was Mayweather. Mentioned Mayweather. And then Malcolm. Yeah, he was the other one. Yeah, but it's interesting, them experiencing stuff for the first time, because they were all inexperienced at that point. It wasn't like several centuries later was the original series Next Generation where they had explored a lot bit more. But here they were all new to it, and so it was a new experience for them. Yep, and then of course the Federation would be formed later. So yeah, this the last episode. Yeah, the last season was interesting. What there was those alien Nazis, right, who were trying to take over, and then the Archer had to step in through Daniels, prevent a major catastrophe. That was the start of season 4 because they had gotten out of the Expanse at that point. And then, of course, there was the Mirror Universe episodes too. Those were interesting, because of course the Mirror Universe had been done in the original series, and it had been done in Deep Space Nine, and now it was done again in Enterprise. So that was interesting. And then was it Brent Spiner? He guest starred, didn't he? He played a ancestor of Dr. Sung. That was interesting. So he played Eric Sung, I believe his name was, in the Enterprise. He was kind of a baddie in that. And yeah, that was fun. And the last episode, what was it? The last episode was just Eclipso, wasn't it? It was, or not Eclipso, it was just basically seen from the Next Generation crew's perspective. They were basically watching it through a holodeck. It was that was the whole thing at the end. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, I know that's kind of a controversy. Some people like that one. Some people really don't like that episode because it's like, oh, it's through the holodeck. It was Riker and Troy seeing it through the holodeck. And basically, it was hinted, right, that Trip didn't survive, right? That was the whole thing. But yeah, I mean, it was a pretty good show. Compared to what we have now, it's just like, ugh. Yeah, hopefully it'll get better. I heard Picard season 3 is going to be better. That they're actually going to work and do a better job for once. I think Kurtzman has less say too, which could help. Alex Kurtzman. And then yeah, that was. And now what was it? Oh yeah, now I want to say how I got into Batman. Well, Batman, right? I was age. What was I? 7. Yeah, I first saw the movie. Right, it was on a DVD that I rented from the library. Of course, I was living in San Jose at the time, even though I live in, I was naturally born in Santa Cruz Capitola. But yeah, I saw the VHS of that and I got really into it. And then I got into the animated series at the same time. Yeah, and there were certain influences that are similar in both. Obviously, the very gothic looking Gotham City was very similar in Batman, the Tim Burton one, and Batman, the animated series. And that was fun. Obviously, the Joker was even creepier, though, I feel like, in the animated. And I didn't know till later that Mark Hamill from Star Wars, who played Luke, had voiced him. He does such a unique voice to it. I was like, wow, I didn't know that was him. But he did good. And yeah, that laugh. I think he probably has the best laugh out of all the Jokers, probably. It's genuinely creepy and crazy. Really good job on that. Then, of course, it was the introduction of Harley Quinn, right? She was introduced through the animated series, I believe. Then she became a comic book character later. So that was interesting. And I do like the portrayal of the Penguin. I think I like the portrayal of the Penguin better in the animated series than I liked him in the than the Danny DeVito version because he's more like the comic books. And I felt like they went a little. I feel like Tim Burton, even though I really do like Tim Burton, I felt like he just slightly went a bit over the top with it, the way they portrayed it, way he was trying to portray, you know, and the way they were having Danny DeVito portray the Penguin. This one, he's more like a gentleman type character, and he has more manners, and he fits more the character from the comic books, which I thought was interesting. And he has that he's got that slight British accent to him, which I thought was interesting too. Kind of like how in the Adam West one, that one he's a little bit more like that one. The build though, he's a little bit more heavier, like the Danny DeVito. So build wise, he's more like the Danny DeVito version, but the portrayal, the personality is more like the Adam West, a little bit more like the Adam West and the comic book portrayal. So I really did like the Penguin version, um, like a more darker version of that, basically, but still closer in conception to that than the Batman Returns version. Yeah, that fish part always got me in the Batman Returns when he was eating that fish and all the. It was nasty. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Catwoman 2 was good in that too. The animated. I mean, obviously there were differences too. There were differences. Obviously, Bruce Wayne didn't look like Michael Keaton from the movies. The way they drew him and stuff. If anything, he probably looked closer to Christian Bale and Ben Affleck, probably. Uh, yeah, but I did like the. And then of course Robin was brought in later too, wasn't he? In the around the same time I think as the movies came out. Of Robin. You know what? Actually, I think you know what? Because I was 4 when the Batman Forever came out. Maybe that was the first Batman film I saw. You know what? I think it was a drive-in. Yeah, I didn't really pay attention to the whole thing till later when I saw it on VHS. But yeah, that might have actually. You know what? That probably was the first one I saw. It was a drive-in. I was 5 at the time, and my parents took me. I remember that. Huh. Yeah, that was the Riddler. That's right. It was the Riddler. It was Two Face. I remember that. It was the Val Kilmer one. Okay, that's right. Now, yeah, I remember vividly now. I think I was tired at the time. I think I fell asleep halfway, even though I liked what was going on. I don't know. And then when I saw it on VHS later, I was really into it because after that, I'd already rented the Tim Burton Batman at that time, so I was into both. Obviously, Forever was more, a little bit more campy. It was kind of a little bit all over the place. It was trying to be almost serious at times and then campy at times, like the Adam West one. And yeah, that was interesting. But I think Kilmer didn't do a bad job. I mean, for what the material he had to work with, uh, yeah, I could get more people. Yeah, I'll do another stream next time about like if anyone wants to come in, um, they're welcome to join the stream. Maybe I'll do a another part two of this, and then I could bring more people on the panel. That would be fun. Have their experiences, like watching Star Trek and other material as well. That would be fun. I'd like to do that. Hear the panel's viewpoints on that. Their experiences of first watching Star Trek, maybe first watching Batman for the first time. And yeah, that would be fun. Do that for another stream soon. What else? And then yeah, I saw Batman and Robin. Right? I was like eight at the, or no, no, I actually did see that in theaters, didn't I? Yeah, it was '97, so I was 7 at the time. Yeah, that was when cinema. It was still Cinema 9 at that point. It was 1997. Yeah, I was 7. Wow. Yeah, that movie was. It wasn't one of the best. I noticed it was the quality was a bit downhill. Then it was so silly though. I kind of got a kick out of it. But yeah, the quality at that point it went really campy. At that point, and I don't mind some camp. Some camp's fine. I think it's good to have a little bit of a mix, bit of dark and maybe a bit of campy, maybe a bit of both. Um, but yeah, the back credit card. Oh my gosh, the back credit card was something else. Can't go home without it. And then Mr. Freeze, Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Oh my gosh. And then there was Uma Thurman, right? She played Poison Ivy. And then, of course, don't want to forget Lisa Silverstone and Carson. She was good. That's Batgirl, for what she could do with the material. And yeah, the movie was all over the place, though. I mean, it was so campy. It was so freaking campy. It was really campy. And yeah, it was kind of all over the place. I could understand why George Clooney, regretted doing it, and I feel bad for him. He had to look for the part, but the plot was just no. I actually own that one though because I have it in the collection. It has the Tim Burton ones, and then it has Batman Forever, and then Batman and Robin. And then Joel Schumacher, that's right, that's the director who did it. And he did a lot of like lawyer films, I believe. Yeah, I'll give it like a 5. That movie, yeah. I can't. Yeah, I mean, at least there was a plot to it. I guess it's not like the Petrified World, which was there was no plot to it at all, and it was just a complete waste. It was a complete waste of a film. There nothing happened underneath the water there. Should have been aliens. There should have been something going on, but there was nothing really. They were just stuck there. There was maybe what, a lizard? Big whoop. Oh, that movie was, yeah. So I mean, I'd still rank it higher than that, I guess. Not a great film by any means, but yeah. And then speaking of Batman, then I got into, then of course got rejuvenated when the Batman, returned. I was, let's see, so I was like 15. Was I? Yeah, I was 15. It was 14 or 15. When Begins came out, and that one was awesome. I was like, wow, finally. This was a return to form, and it showed how he, developed, you know, how he was training, and he was in, what was it, almost like Thailand and type setting. It was like all snowy. They filmed it in Iceland, I think, and it was cool. And then he, how he had to face his worst fear, which was bats, as a kid, and I like that exploration because we never really got to see why did he use the bat as the symbol in the Keaton one, and that was always a little bit frustrating to me because it was like, okay, yeah, why would he choose the bat? In the comic books, even explained it. It's because he wanted to inspire fear to criminals, cowardly and superstitious. A lot of yeah, and that was one of the lines from it. And it's nice that it actually gets explored in this film because you never really got the exploration of it or why he wanted the bat as a symbol. And this one, it was because it was his fear of bats, and to use it to spread fear to the evil doers, and I like that. And then the training with Henry Ducard, Liam Neeson, great performance there. And of course, you feel is responsible for his parents' death, of course, but he was just a kid at that point, Bruce Wayne. And then the trial scene, there was an excellent scene there because he had the gun, right? He was prepared at the end because it looked like he was going to get away with it. And, but somebody else saw it, Joe Chill instead, the killer of his parents. And he's like, he tells Rachel, Katie Holmes, I was going to kill him, but now I can't, take, revenge for my parents' death. But, then of course she slaps him. Then he goes to see Carmine Falcone. That was a good scene. He was another one. He's the mob boss. He's a really bad character, mafia type. Then after that encounter is when he decides to, basically go away from Gotham and train. He's been gone for 7 years, right? Yeah, gone for 7 years, and then he comes back after the battle. Because he doesn't want to kill that one person that was stealing fruit or something. And then he had the battle, yeah, with Ra's al Ghul, or we think it's Ra's al Ghul, but we'll find out later it's not him. And then, of course, yeah, he gets trained. He comes back. Then he meets, Alfred's played by Michael Caine. Does a brilliant job. And then we get Lucius Fox, who helps him, as well from Wayne Tech. That was cool. And then, of course, the Tumbler turns out to be the Batmobile, but it's not called the Batmobile in this version. It's called the Tumbler. But it's still very cool. Yeah, I like it. And then, of course, we get the Scarecrow. He's kind of a creepy one. And he actually auditioned for the part. But, yeah, I'm glad he didn't get that part, man. He just does not look the part at all. He has those kind of big, creepy eyes. And, yeah, they're kind of creepy. They're big, too, the eyelids. Kind of big eyes. Big lips, too. Full lips. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it would have worked for Batman at all. Nah, it just wouldn't have worked. Because I looked him in the mask and I was like, wow, he would just looks off. And then especially as Bruce Wayne, it's even worse. It's like, whoa, no, that's not Bruce Wayne. Glad Christian Bale got it instead. Um, yeah, but yeah, he was creepy. And then we find out at the end, right, that it's after he rescues Rachel and stuff from basically the fear, the toxin that Scarecrow put on her. He gives her the antidote, and then we find out at the Bruce Wayne birthday that Ra's al Ghul was actually Henry Ducard, played by Liam Neeson. Yes, the ultimate reveal. And then it's like, oh shoot, this is an interesting twist. It's handled well, and he sets fire to the Wayne Manor, which is unfortunate. Good movie though. Really good movie. Yeah, and then the battle on the train with him and Ra's al Ghul. That was a great scene, redone well. And he's like, I'm not gonna kill you, but I'm not gonna save you. And then he leaves him on the train. That was awesome at the end. That was good. And at the end, we see the Joker card, so we know the Joker's gonna be involved. When Commissioner Gordon tells him about that, played by Gary Oldman. Yeah, the cast is all amazing. There's no complaints. It's a really good film. Yeah, it's definitely quite a good film. Yeah, so that rejuvenated my love for Batman after that, and I was just, yeah, I was in for more. I was like, I'm ready for more. And then, we get the Dark Knight and stuff. And yeah, I mean, I could see how some people could say, yeah, he's upstaged. But I mean, in a way, he had to be a upstage Batman in that one because really, Batman Begins was the story of, it was all about Batman from Bruce Wayne's Batman's point of view. And the rest were side characters. Whereas now the villain is the main kind of, if you have to say, the main character, even though it's called the Dark Knight. I mean, technically, you could call it the Dark Knight the Joker or something, because it really is about the Joker's story in a way. It's all from the Joker's perspective in a way in this one. So I'm okay with him slightly upstaging him from that. He does an amazing job, so I get why he won that Oscar post death. Unfortunately, he died after the making of it, which sucks. Yeah. And then the magic trick part is classic. Yeah. Oh man, I could see though how that character could drive somebody a little bit. So drive a little bit somebody a little bit mad after a while, and yeah, he had to. I guess he just overdosed on prescription drugs, and he was only what 28, 27. And then they got a new uh, Rachel in that film. It wasn't Katie Holmes. Now it was the sister of Jake Gyllenhaal, Maggie Gyllenhaal. And then Harvey Dent was played by Aaron Eckhart, awesome actor. I think the Two Face in this is definitely done better than in Batman Forever as well. Yeah, I own that one as well. I'll have to rewatch that one again sometime. And then, oh man, what was it? Oh my gosh, him in the nurse's outfit. Oh my gosh, Heath Ledger in her nurses. Oh, that was hilarious. Oh my gosh, creepy but funny. At the hospital with Harvey Dent. Oh my god, that was funny. That was quite good. Yeah, it sucks that Rachel did die in there. But he tries, the Joker tries to convince Harvey that, oh, it wasn't my fault about everything when it was. But, he wanted Harvey to go against the police and everything. go against Gordon. Yeah, really good film. It doesn't really, it doesn't seem like it's a long film because everything just happens. It doesn't really drag to me. It doesn't really drag, and it's funny, but it's funny. The new movie, it's only like what 20 minutes longer, but it feels like way longer than that. Anyway, guys, that's I just wanted to tell you how I got into Star Trek and Batman. 31 minutes. And there's nobody. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Maybe I should have done this with my face. That's alright next time. Forgot to put the camera. That's okay. I had my logo. And next time, maybe I'll bring on some people. Yeah, and if anybody wants to come on next time, please let me know. My followers, and they want to come on to the panel, let me know. That would be fun. Let's get Sci-Fi Nation and Renzo Sleestack on here. That'd be fun. And on the captain too, maybe if you'd be interested. All right. Well, I hope you have a good rest of your Friday, everybody. And be on the lookout for my next stream. And just needed a little bit of a break after everything going on. But I'm back. I'm officially back now. So, hope everyone has a good rest of your Friday. Take care. Peace. If you like what you see, subscribe to the channel and put a like. Peace. Bye for now.